Hello, Adam. Lovely to have you on today. Can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do at Humm?
Yeah, no problem. I'm the head of sales for UK and Ireland. So my main role would really be partnerships, onboarding sort of new relationships and managing existing ones. So
Mhm.
teams that I look after in the UK and Ireland really focus on that. And that's both on the customer side and the actual clinic side. So been working with Humber 10 years. I feel like I know the FinTech industry really well. So I'm keen to get into these questions.
Amazing. Hopefully, you won't have any trouble answering them. Then you'll just be straight in with the answer. So I'm gonna throw you straight into the deep end then with buy now, pay later. Obviously, that's become quite popular over the recent years, and it would be interesting to know how Humm differentiates itself in this sphere in the UK.
Yeah, no problem. I suppose buy now, pay later. The best way I can explain what that is and what it means to the industries in fintech, it's
Mhm.
more like a marketing tool. So it's a really good way of getting customers. And buy now, pay later companies have really been measured on that, and they look at the much lower end of products. So trainers, t-shirts, kind of fast fashion type
Mhm.
aspects of the industry. The way we differ is we have multiples. So we can do everything from £1 to £30,000, from pay in
Okay.
three to 6 year terms, and we can do interest bearing or interest free. So essentially, the way we differ is we do everything that buy now pay later does from the tech side of it. So you think of
Okay.
fintech, but from the finance side of it, we cover all aspects as well. So we
Okay.
try and sort of blend those better. Um, yeah, to give
Okay.
what clients would need.
So, I mean, how does this fit in to dentistry then? I know you've got a kind of finance first approach. How does this sort of weave in with the patient first approach that dental practices usually have?
I suppose what we've done is we've really looked at the journeys. We're not new to this. So we've been in this industry for 34, 35 years. We know the pain points, so we feel we do.
Mhm.
Feedback would be much appreciated. But essentially, you don't want to be dealing with finance when you're a dentist, whether that's the front of house or even at the back of house when you want to focus on good dental work. So for us, the finance first message is to be front facing rather than an end solution. That way, we can drive the customer in, a potentially new one. Or when you do have a new customer in, we want to really take away that heavy lifting from front of house. That way, there's no pressure, there's no
Mhm.
stress. It's kind of, okay, look, how am I going to handle this piece? Once they really take that on board, the customer feels comfortable too. They're not answering any awkward questions. And it's a nice journey throughout. So we're constantly thinking about our user experience. And that goes for both our customers in that side, the customers being the clinic and also the end customer.
Okay.
So that finance first piece really enables a customer to come in ready to essentially get the treatments they need. And
Mhm.
sometimes the treatments are almost, it becomes difficult to pay for them or think about paying for them if they don't know they've got that finance up front. There's
Yes, of
always that
course.
little bit of panic or doubt if they haven't. So this really just solidifies it for them.
So I know you mentioned there that we've got the patient and we've got the dental practice or the practice owner. So how does Hum ensure that both parties feel valued in this?
I always use two words: communication, so that's key,
Uh
and
huh.
transparency. So when I think about those two things, we're constantly talking to the end user, the customer, so they're clear. We've communicated them right at the start when they're doing their application
Hmm.
and after they've done their purchase to make sure they're happy. And regards to the clinics or any sort of partner we have, we really want to communicate with them as well. So it's about showing them the numbers, being transparent about what's happening, not just in their clinic, but in the industry in general. And if we can give them the right type of insights, then we can do better and bigger business together. So it's all about growing together, really. But those two things are absolutely key: communication and transparency.
It sounds like you've got quite a unique approach to finance. Um, how has it been so far? Obviously, within dentistry, has it been how the satisfaction rate's been? Has it been taken on board? Has it been received well by the industry and by patients?
I suppose there's two answers to that, not to be
Mhm.
political. The first answer is when we are taken on board, we're liked and
Okay.
people see it as a really good proposition.
Uh-huh.
But When you take back to the first question about buy now, pay later, as an Australian finance company that's been in the industry for over 30 years, we've only been in the UK a couple of years. So we're still quite new, and people are worried when they've seen buy now, pay later companies from Australia either remove themselves or delist from the ASX. I suppose they've questioned that. But once they see the product and what we've just talked about the transparency and how we work together with the high levels of communication, the trust factor comes in and it's really appreciated. And the more feedback we get from clinics or partners in general, the better we can be. And I think that openness, and when you talk about a unique approach, that's where we really win. Because we're open. We don't think we're perfect. So a lot of businesses think they're perfect. We don't think that. We want to learn. We want to grow. So that's where we're at.
And why? I mean, with that in mind, then, if I'm a practice owner or a dental professional, what makes Humm the go-to for dental practices, or what do you think makes Humm the go-to for dental practices?
Yeah, and that's a good question. So value is one word that sums it up, because you've got financiers, and it's not digging anyone. We're all in this together. The more financiers, the great. It's a comfortable message to the consumer, but value is key. Because if you focus just on the commercials, the price, then as the ECB increases and decreases, that's always going to have to change. Whereas you've got the actual product proposition as well, and you've got regulation sort of thrown into the mix as an awkward cocktail. If you can't balance all those, or if you just focus on one, you're going to struggle. Whereas we've considered all factors. We work closely with the FCA. We're trying to be, meeting best practice at all case while still being slick as a product, like the buy now, pay laters do. So it's a nice experience for the consumer and the clinic. So yeah, I suppose it's given that value for money. It's like you've got all of this functionality. We're removing a lot of heavy lifting from your business. So we're managing the finance. We're talking to you about what maybe is going right or wrong within that. And more importantly, we're keeping our costings as low as possible at all times based upon the funding lines that we have globally. And I think that is huge. And the more conversations that we can have, the more we can explain how we can be, again, transparent and communicate those on a monthly, quarterly basis, which is really healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for talking to me today, Adam. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we say our goodbyes?
No, just if you need us, get in contact and we'll see you soon.
Perfect. Thank you so much.